Yo, 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 this is Jonathan from the All Dudes podcast. Say what's up, guys.
What's up?
Yeah.
So we're here recording again on video. So, hello. I don't know which one to look at. Do I look at that one or do I look at that one?
I don't know. That's pretty
Can
cool.
I one eye on that camera and the other eye on the other camera?
Like crooked? Like, have you seen that meme where it has like you could see your boyfriend's phone at the same time you're looking straight like that?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like weird.
So we can do it like that.
That's crazy, dude.
But
We got another one over here.
So we're recording our second episode with video cameras. So it's exciting getting this new environment going, so I'm excited. But today's topic is going to be on limited government.
Limited government.
All right.
Limited.
But before we get started, let's see what's up, man. How was y'all's week?
It's good.
I know this guy. For some reason, he got bit by a spider and became Peter Parker.
I did.
Even though he's wearing a Superman shirt.
He's rocking a Superman
He's Peter
shirt.
Parker.
Now he got a procedure done, so that's why his face looks like that. He's usually very handsome, but
I'm going through a beauty stage.
Yeah,
to clear up.
What's that phrase you were using earlier? Beauty is pain.
Beauty is pain. Beauty is pain.
That's true, man. It's like all these
The
girls,
women know what I'm talking about. They go through a bunch of stuff just to get themselves fixed
Look,
up. So
there's times when I see like girls. Like in fact, the apartment ladies, when I came to look around, she was wearing some huge high heels, and she's pregnant. And she was like walking on it. I was like, this lady's gonna fall,
She
man.
was on stilts.
and did she fall?
No,
That's
she was
pretty
going
good.
up the stairs as well.
Fast?
No, not fast. But beauty is pain, man. I see girls, my goodness. How come they can't just be normal, like guys? See, guys are more real, man. Like we're more natural. Like we don't got to put on makeup. This is who we are. If we're ugly, we're ugly.
That's it.
The girls, they be putting on makeup, man, and then they take that makeup off. You're like, what?
Who is that?
Who
is that?
are
Who
you?
is that?
That's
See,
how
like
it
the
is.
guys will just say, "Yo soy como el oso, feo pero sabroso." Dang.
So we're more natural. See,
Natural.
see,
We're
girls.
organic.
But do you know that girls are also natural because makeup is actually made out of white cells.
White cells.
White
plasma.
cells.
I thought you said like white people cells.
No, white cells.
I was like, that's racist.
No, white
That would've
cells.
been.
That's racist.
Plasma, all that makeup is made up all that stuff, dude. So when they put on makeup, they're putting body parts on their faces.
Oh, that is.
Are you
That's
sure about
crazy.
that?
Yeah, dude.
I've heard of cologne or perfume for like octopus, from octopus, but
I don't know, but beauty is pain. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, okay, well, cool. Well, that's what I'm going through.
So yeah,
Through the wilderness, you have to get to the land of milk and honey. You must go through the wilderness first. So,
Oh wow.
just saying.
The words.
Just saying.
The words of
The
Lord.
words of Joseph. The wisdom of Joseph. The proverbs of the preacher.
One day that quote will be quoted.
It'll be famous, bro. Yeah.
One
I
day.
die, but the quote lives on.
Okay. But
Anyways.
anyways, guys. So, what about you, Vasquez? He became Spider-Man. What did you do?
I stayed the same. I haven't changed.
You're always changing, bro.
You're never
No,
the
I'm
same.
not.
You're never the
I
same.
never change.
You never change.
Never change. Never. Nah, I just work right now. I'm working at his job. I like it. It's like I cut mirrors and
I think that's what you said in the last episode.
I did.
Yeah, make it more exciting, bro. Like something
Did you
that.
get like a new design of a mirror? Did you like make
we
a
don't have any.
triangle shape?
They do have that, but I'm not doing that. I don't do the designs. I just have to cut huge, big, like 9-foot mirrors sometimes.
Wow.
So that's a challenge, but it's good. Sometimes I mess up, and when you mess up, I mean, it's pretty bad. Like the cut goes like this in the middle, and I'm like, man,
Do it
I have to
again?
throw it
Do it again?
like this.
Okay, that's.
It's like salsa or what?
I don't know what that's not salsa, dude. I don't know what
It
that
goes out
is.
like that, and I have to throw away sometimes the whole mirror. But then one time I kept messing up, dude. I was like, man, why I keep messing up? It's just like happening. It just happened over and over again. And I was getting a little frustrated. And then, but every time I messed up, I always changed the measurements because I had to cut it. I was always changing the measure. Like maybe I measured it wrong or something. I don't know. Let me check again.
Most likely.
And every single time I messed up, I was changing the measurements. And I was, you know what? Maybe God's teaching me something here. And mistakes, He corrects me. And my own mistakes. Because I kept messing up. But I kept changing my actual measurements. And then it fit. And it fit into the frame.
Imagine the high priests and when they were building the temple in Noah. had to build the ark, certain measurements, can mess up.
Oh yeah, dude. If you mess up with that, man,
Imagine just a small leak.
that's it, man.
No mankind.
Nope.
But yeah, so okay, that seems kind of like usual, normal.
Yeah.
Nothing exciting.
No, nothing exciting.
For me, it's also very normal, unexciting work, and that's about it. No drama. We need drama, dude. We need to like go like to a Catholic church and just kind of like post 95 theses in there or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We need some drama. Or go to like one of those cult churches. I did pass by the World Mission Society Church of God Church over there by Deer Park.
Center Street.
Yeah, in Center Street. I should have went over there and just kind of like.
Well,
What would you
eventually,
have done? What would you
we're probably gonna start adding some stuff for the audience.
Yeah.
Where we start talking to codes.
We actually got a comment by a code guy on our website. He was like, if you read it on episode 1 or the World Mission Society Church of God episode, the part 1, they wrote a comment. He was calling us, or he was calling the website genius. He was like, you Einstein, you the reason why Ash had to go to a Seventh-day Adventist church because he cannot go to a Sunday worship church, so he had to go in a church that keeps Sabbath. So that's why he went to the SDA. And I responded by saying, well, the SDA is also Trinitarian, so he's still going to a false teaching church. But anyway, so so that's the only drama.
Okay. Well, it's okay with some dialogue there. I mean, it seems like they're noticing it.
Yeah.
So that should tell you something. So that's good. Cool.
But so we are going to be talking about something a little controversial, something else here in the South, Yeehaw, Texan. Yeehaw. I'm telling you, if you're gonna be
what is that, Master?
I don't know, dude. For some reason, I feel like it fitted. Like,
well, because
dude.
the South is usually known to be more like freedom lovers.
Okay.
Texas is known to be more like, I love freedom. Freedom.
The red state.
Yeah.
Republican.
But our views, or at least my views, might be a little more radical even to the Southerners. But we're gonna be talking about government, limited government. What's the role of government? What is the government?
what is it?
So we're gonna be talking about that. But so we're not gonna look. I know on the last episode we talked about libertarianism a little bit, but we're not gonna talk about libertarianism because I think that distracts the issue. Because when people think of libertarianism, what's the first thing people think about? Anarchism. They think libertarians are anarchists, or they think the libertarians are antinomians.
They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, lawless.
What's antinomian?
Lawlessness, without law.
Without law.
Yeah, so they just go crazy. They have no rules, kind of like anarchism. That's when they automatically think when they think of libertarianism. And
that would be a bad conception of what true libertarian.
Yeah, so we're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about the NAP theory, the non-aggression principle, because people get scared. We're gonna give out our views. We're gonna talk. We're gonna,
maybe give some examples.
Give some examples, but
But how does this benefit the people? Like how does this benefit the people? And why would we choose to talk about something?
I'll tell you one thing. Like taxes.
Taxes never closes.
I could have more money to use for what I need to. I mean, that's one thing.
Okay, let them know about taxes. Like, what is tax?
Yeah.
What is a tax? Are tax legit?
You have more freedom to do different things. You don't have to feel. I mean, at least for the Christians, I think it's more like you don't have to feel compelled. You can actually do it out of your own free choice. I think that'd be like for everybody. I mean, that's how it should be. You shouldn't be compelled to do things.
I guess so the Christians would be like, thou shalt not steal. So you should not be obligated to pay something that you're not actually paying for, a service. So that would be like a form of stealing. So for the Christian, it affects them in that sense, I guess.
Yeah, it does. I think this topic will help people, at least knowing about this topic, will help people become a little more educated so they can be self-dependent. Because a lot of times we have this role of government that sometimes even takes the place of God. There's a famous phrase, well, not phrase, but famous word. It's called, how there's idolatry. Well, there's a word that says, basically state-tolatry. We make the government become like our god.
Oh.
We depend on them for health. We depend on them for, educating our kids. We depend on them for everything. They become like our savior, our messiah,
Our dependence, like our source of
living, to the point where we no government, we feel helpless.
Like, what do we do? That's how people may feel without the government.
So this topic is going to help the individual be more aware of those things, and even challenge their thinking that, hey, wait a minute, why do I believe certain things? And hopefully, if we convince you to be more freedom-minded, then hopefully you start being more self-governed, because that's really what it's about. It's self-governed, and
And when we say self-governed, it's not like I do whatever I want. No. There's a standard, and so of course.
So that's good. That's good, because one thing we got to do is we got to define what government is. If we're going to talk about government, shouldn't we define it?
Yeah.
So government. Well, how would you define government?
Actually, I do not know.
You don't know?
I mean, I have an idea, but like to define what an actual government should be, I can't say. I can't say. I say I have a sure definition.
I see. Well, this is how I put it up together. All right, this is me paraphrasing it.
All right, let's see.
Give me a second. I was gonna cough, but it didn't come out. But anyways, okay. So government is when a group of people in a society, home, church, community, or whatever, decides to come together to organize themselves.
This is simple.
Simple as that.
Okay.
It's when a group of people in society or community or church or family or whatever come together to organize themselves.
And so, however that is, they can design it with.
Yeah, so
it can be people, or it can be by a constitution or
whatever. There's a church government that we believe in. Like there's a group of people that get together to be governed, and then we call that sometimes a church. In the church, there's a government. There's rules. There's whatever. They organize themselves to function. Then you have home government or family government.
I was about to say that. So there's family too, or the home.
Yes, and then there's what usually people think about government, which is the president, the Senate, and all that stuff.
What's the term? Big
brother.
Big brother.
So
big brother.
We're gonna make a distinction here. We're not gonna say government. We're gonna say the state.
Okay.
The state. We're gonna be referring to what people usually think about government, which is the president, whatever, governor, mayor, all that stuff. That's what we're gonna call it, the state.
Okay.
Make sense?
Sounds good.
Yep.
So then the question then still is, what is the state?
Well, it would be the
government.
Government.
Well, yeah, I mean, some people would say that, oh, we are the state, or we are the government, we the
people,
the people, we are the state. That's what some people try to say. But one thing that we got to clarify is that we are not the state. We are not the government. We are not the state government. Don't fall for that.
So what are we?
You are
we're
part.
We're part of the
state
system.
But
Well, I want to say part of the system. We're part of the system.
I ain't part of the system now.
That sounds like an anarchist right there. We're part of the system. We need to get out of it.
No, they say that you are the state. You are the state government. That's illogical. It'll be illogical because if you are the state, anything you do to the state is all voluntary. So when there's a mass murder and then when the state commits mass murder to its people, you're just committing suicide. Because if you are the state and you're killing yourself, then it's not really mass murder, it's suicide. Because if you are the state, then anything the state does to you is voluntary.
You're doing it to yourself.
So it's irrational.
When you're really not.
You're not the state.
So,
unless you want to find those irrational statements.
So like what we have now, we have a government. That is, we have a state. And in that state, we have people who represent individuals in that state.
Mm-hmm.
So they would be considered in state or state.
You have the whole theory is that you vote for somebody in your community and that one person represents the whole community. So then that person that represents the community is in a bigger community and they vote for another guy who represents a bigger community. And then that one person represents Texas. Okay? So then Texas, whatever, you go...
The senators pretty much, right?
Yeah, like Ted Cruz and all that. So it's... So That's the way they do it, but you are not the government. All right? When the government takes your money, you're not giving us an offering.
It's not a free will offering.
It's not a free will. You're doing it by force. And if you don't do it, you don't put yourself to jail.
You penalize
Somebody
yourself.
else puts you to jail. So my point is that we are not the
That
state.
makes sense.
It's an irrational claim to say that we are the state. And if you are going to say you are the state, then everything you do is justified. Anything the state does to you is justified because you're really doing it to yourself.
That makes sense.
That's pretty good. Yeah, because I mean, I guess if you need to define your words, that mean you define it, you have to remain consistent later on through that. So I guess defining government, defining state helps as your premise to work your way out of it, because I guess that's where the distinctions would come in with the different forms of government.
Yes,
Or
yeah, that's
and
correct.
stuff like
We're going
that.
to talk about that because well, at least the free. I don't want to say libertarians, but like myself, we're not anti-government or state government. We are anti-forced government. We're going to talk about that a little bit later right now.
Okay.
But so they also say that the state is the highest good of society. Like the state was a necessary evil. We need it. Oh, well, it's two different claims. Some people say that the state, it's the biggest or the highest good of society. Like a lot of socialists, communists believe that the state is the good thing. It's actually the savior. It's actually the one that's going to help society run smoothly. Some conservatives, they're like, well, the state, it's more like a necessary evil. We know it does bad things, it abuses its power, but it's necessary because if we don't have it, then the alternatives are bad, are way worse. So this is the one is the less evil. Out of all the options that we have, the state is a necessary evil. That's what like conservatives believe. Okay? But again, what is the state? And here's how a lot of people have defined it, or at least how we're going to define it, or I'm going to define it. But I have to explain certain things first, right? So you can kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about. But they are basically, hold on, give me a second. Okay, yeah. They're basically two ways of getting things in this world, right? Getting property. There are basically two ways of getting property or getting things. One is called the economic means, and the other one is called the political means. All right? The economic means is when a person uses what God has given him in order to take control of the natural resources. Right? So the energy, your will, your mind, you use that to collect items and to produce something out of it. Or use your energy to help somebody produce those items.
So would you say, like at the garden, in the beginning of Eden, it was an economic type right there?
God told
God gave
Adam to
the resources,
cultivate
and then
the
to
land.
cultivate.
So that's the natural course that all humans come in. We all come in. The only thing God has given us are mind, our bodies, and that's it.
And the resources.
And the resources that God,
apart from our body.
So that's the natural means. So like for example, it'd be something like this. Like if I want to use my skills to go cut, Josue's grass. I'm using my skill. I'm using my energy and my mind. And Josue gives me an exchange. We do an exchange of goods, my energy, my work, and he's in exchange whatever it is, whether it's food, money, gold, whatever it is that's valuable that I think is valuable. We exchange that. Voluntary exchange. I do something for you, you do something for me. That's the economic means, but then I also have to buy the lawnmower. I also have to buy the whole machine. So I have to make another agreement with the producer of the lawnmower. I could talk to him and tell him, hey, I need to buy this lawnmower, so let me do an exchange of whatever he considers valuable, whether it's money or gold or whatever. And we do that exchange. He made that lawnmower, and he sells me the lawnmower, and I give him an exchange, which is work or whatever it is. But there's an exchange. And the lawnmower does the same thing. To buy the metal, he has to go to somebody who makes the metal, and the metal has to maybe do an exchange to the person who cuts the metal, and whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a cycle of exchanges going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the economic means. Everybody is exchanging voluntarily by an exchange of goods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then there's the political means, which is the one that's, according to Rothbard, is the easiest one, which is is the seizure of another person's property.
Okay.
That's what political means, is the seizure of another person's goods or
Is-
resources.
So in the seizure of the goods, is it a voluntary?
It's by the use of force and even violence.
The
Okay.
seizure sounds like it's already negative.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
already
seizure is
given
usually
It's
always
negative,
negative.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what political means, is the seizure of another person's goods or services by the use of force and violence or threats.
Makes sense.
This is the method
Sounds
of
familiar.
this is a method of one. It's like a one-sided confiscation. Like one party is the one that goes to the other party and forces the exchange
Without the other
without
one.
voluntary exchange. It could be through theft. It could be through whatever. So an example would be the same thing with me and Josue. Like I go to Josue's house and he gets a gun. He tells me to cut his grass, and I cut his grass and he gives me no exchange. It's just, or if he gets the gun, he forces that exchange. Like I cut his grass, yeah, he'll give me money, but that's because he also has a gun.
Hey, you're gonna cut my grass.
You're gonna cut my, and he might give me like $1 or $2, but it's still force. I did not volunteer that transaction. It was still done by force.
I actually heard that in I think it was U.S. history at San Jack one time at South Campus, and the teacher was talking about the U.S. and how they've always kind of done their work either in wars or in the Middle East. And the saying, I think is one of the presidents, but he says the U.S. says basically speak softly but carry a big stick.
Oh, I remember hearing that.
Speak softly but carry a big stick.
I remember
meaning,
hearing that.
hey, we'd like to come over and we like to do some work over there.
That's good. We're gonna talk about that right now.
And it's like forcing, a threat. I mean, they're
They're behind their back. They have a gun waiting.
back,
Loaded.
and then you already know U.S. World power, all these nuclear weapons and military force and stuff like that. They can come over and obliterate you. So either give them what they want easily, but so I think that's true. I think we
So
are not good
does
at
that make sense when I'm talking about the political means and the
Yeah, it makes
economic
sense.
means?
Yeah, I got
Okay,
it.
so what is the state? At least the way we have seen it through history and even now, the state is the organization of political means.
Oh, wow.
This all sounds bad now.
That sounds
All right, so that's how we define. That's how they define the state. The state is the organization of the political means. It is the organized way people come together to steal or to plunder other people's means.
anarchist.
No.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
We're not going to tell you what is the
Nah,
proper
it's
role of government or state government.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not saying that we should not have any government.
You're just saying
I'm
like
just
right
saying
now.
that this type of government,
It's not
the one that does the political means, it's the one that's bad because it forces and it steals people from people.
Because the way they do it is that's how
Yes.
they do it.
So now the question is there a way for a state government to be more of the economical means, where it's more a voluntary exchange? And that's what libertarians are trying, or some people, I don't want to use the word libertarians because libertarianism sounds,
Yeah.
but that's what some people think the government should be. Well, government should be when a group of people get together, not without law, but to get together to do an exchange of things voluntarily, not through force or not through anything. So taxes, because it's a form of political means, all taxes is taxation. It's force. Government is coming to your house, taking your money by force.
And it's
So
because
that's always evil.
it's because I didn't like when I work, I look at my pay stub and I never agreed to give that money. But if I had agreed, then it wouldn't be right.
Yes.
Then it'll be okay. But the thing is, I never agreed. I never
Yes.
said
So
I'll pay this. I'll put in for whatever healthcare, whatever it is.
yeah. So if the government wants to sell a produce or something, a product, and you actually want that product, there's no problem. The problem becomes whenever the government forces a product upon you by the use of force or threats. So if the government wants to force their education on you, which they do, then and you don't want to pay, what happens?
You get jailed or
You get
whatever.
plundered. You get stolen. You get your items forced by the government by the use of force. Again, the political means.
taken away. Yeah, that's
So-
pretty interesting. Yeah,
So that's what the state is, at least our state and in most states. I don't think there's ever been a state where there's the economic means.
not to a full extent.
No.
So then, okay. Well, I'm sure you're gonna go into the topic, but I was just curious. So then, whenever we have Romans 13 talking about the role of government, carrying the sword not for nothing.
Yeah,
So
I
they have
believe-
reasons. So
Yeah, well, there should be government.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a command. Like God is a divine, it's a divine institution.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
so then
I just don't think there's the proper government is not what we have right now.
yeah, I got you. So then government, the biblical role of government would be to make sure that people continue having the economic means
Yes.
versus the political means.
Yes. Yes.
That would be the role. So then, and then God being the ultimate standard,
Mm-hmm.
by which we're to be governing our morals and our
Like, I'll give you an
economic
example.
means, etc.
Like if there's a transaction between you and I,
Mm.
right? And they're stealing on my behalf. Like I'm cheating you off. I'm lying to you. I'm telling you I'm giving you 100 pounds of gold, and I'm really just giving you 95. And let's pretend you find out, and other people find out that I'm doing that. The government is to come in to be the ruler
And
of
the
that,
sword
of
and
the sword on that. Like they would be the judge of that. Now there has to be a standard of good and evil. That's why I like saying libertarianism, because libertarianism are usually
some of them
bankrupt in
don't.
that.
Yeah, some of them don't have a.
also
Well,
an
they're-
objective standard.
Yeah.
I see.
So I'm more of a Christian. You want to call it more of a Christian libertarian, or there's a website. I think I said it last time. Reformed Libertarians.
Yeah.
You know, I'll put the link in the bottom. But I have more of that view of.
I mean, well, of course. I mean, if you have no standard, then
Yeah,
Like-
there's how can you judge
Hey,
good?
who's
Yeah,
the
how
one
do
who
you judge it?
decides? I mean, someone's
Like-
gonna have to decide.
define private property. Well,
Yeah.
I can define private property differently.
Yeah.
You know, like. So yeah, it makes it because I was hearing different stuff on libertarianism and stuff like that, and you have guys who are atheists,
Yes.
libertarians, and they believe in the rights of private property and et cetera, and then like from that premise you have all these implications that come from it, but you still have to question the foundation.
Yeah.
But it makes sense as a
It's actually
Christian.
a
You
good-
shouldn't steal.
There's
So,
a good discussion between, kind of like it goes on that topic, between Jeff Durbin and libertarian runner for president last time, which was Austin
Peterson.
Peterson. It's actually pretty interesting.
oh, pretty good.
I'll put the link in the bottom. All right, so. But anyway, so the state, it takes away your stuff, guys. Like we don't see it that way, you know. We see it like, oh,
Oh,
it's
all
just
my water.
taxes. It's just taxes, and that's what government does. That's just the nature of the court or court. You know, that's not, I don't know. We just assuming that it's okay. But like, for example, like the welfare system, Social Security, healthcare, even the draft, those things are all bad things. Let me give you an example about the welfare system. The welfare system is, so we can help the poor. The government or the state, they come and they take your money, and they do it for good means. I mean, to help those who are in need, right? That's very virtuous. I mean, that's very.
It sounds very like, yeah,
Compassionate.
compassionate. Yeah, go
But
compassionate.
imagine, Vanessa, since you're over there, if you're working at Chick-fil-A, and you're working at Chick-fil-A working very hard, and for some reason, they paid you cash. For some weird reason, they just gave you cash money. So you're walking back to your car.
Cash
Cash
money.
money.
You're walking back to your car, and a homeless guy comes up to you, right? And he goes, Vanessa, I need food. My family needs help. My little kid needs money, food. Can you please give me some money? And Vanessa, you say, I don't have any money. Or I do have money, but I need it I gotta go to a cruise. I gotta buy my makeup. I gotta get my honey,
brand new
a brand new
Adidas soccer shoes.
Yeah, so I just need the money, I already had a plan. My grandma, my mom, whatever. I need money, and when the homeless guy goes, "No, Vanessa, can you just give me $20?" And you're like, "No." And let's say the homeless guy really is hungry, you just don't want to give it to him for whatever reason. And the homeless guy comes out and he takes out his gun, and he says, "No, Vanessa, you understand? You gotta give me your $20." What do we call that?
Stealing.
Robbing,
That'd be
Forcing.
thief. He'd be a thief. Or
even if the action for the homeless guy might be he might really do need that money. He might really be hungry, but does that justify him stealing from you?
Nope.
Because then it's by force. So when the government does that to you, and they go, you know what, we gotta take your money by force to feed the hungry, they're stealing from you. And the bad thing is that they make you look like the bad guy, like, oh, you don't really care about the poor. It's not about that. It's about you are stealing from us. Let us give money voluntarily or whatever.
which Christians would be doing that kind of stuff. I mean, that's why there's lots of different ministries that were raised up to give to the poor, help the needy, and stuff like that. To, you know, as Christians, that was one of their roles, to give. And so I remember that because they asked Ron Paul. I was listening to a debate. It was an old debate with Ron Paul and some other guys, and then they got into the topic of welfare. And they asked, it was a question from the audience, and, you know, it becomes very emotional because the person had lost their job. They've been out of work for like several years. It was a woman. She has kids and stuff like that. And she says, what would you do for someone like me if you want to, what would you do as far as welfare and in regards to that? And so he basically answers, and I was curious how he's going to answer, because, welfare is basically stealing. It's a form of stealing. And so he basically said, well, tactfully, I'm just going to shorten it up. Tactfully, he said, it's unfortunate how the government is actually how it is at the moment. So, basically, it's stealing if we still want to give you, produce or whatever, or an exchange, a political means. But it's because of how the government was established already. Mm-hmm. So what should we do? Well, I think Christians should step up, and if they feel like it's
helping out.
I always thought about that how it seems like people always want to push the responsibility that they're supposed to do on the government, like who's going to help the poor? Oh, the government should do it. Oh, who's going to do this? Oh, the government should do it.
Remember, guys, the government, they don't produce anything.
Yeah,
the government are just a bunch of guys or the state government's a bunch of guys in their little rooms passing laws to take away from you.
Yeah, because
that's all.
They
Really
don't make anything. It's you who's really doing those things. So.
Yeah, you're
the private property,
all
the private market.
Giving or the financial means that the government it's not their own money.
No, they have to get it from somewhere.
It's our money, the citizens who are paying from their taxes, forced upon, and then giving it.
It's the corporation's money. People want to. It's the corporation's money. The government steals from the corporations and from individuals, like us. Now, there's a lot of stuff that corporations get away with all these bailouts from government, but a lot of big companies do have to pay a lot of taxes.
Yeah, they want more printed.
Or even like the healthcare, the healthcare is a good service. We have the Obamacare, even the Trump care. They want to have the Trump. That's one thing about Republicans, man, is like they really have the same foundation as the Democrats. That's why a lot of Republicans are really just the same thing. They just believe that their methods are different, but the foundation is the same. Because you don't hear any Republicans talking bad about,
limited government.
So anyway, so that's my critique of the Republicans. That's why I'm not a Republican full blown. But anyways, the healthcare system is a good service. But imagine, again, I'm gonna give you another scenario. Imagine 24 hours or Fitness Connection coming to your door, right, knocking.
Fitness Connection.
And they tell you, man, Joseph, we have the best deal right now going on, $10 per month, and you get access to everything. You don't gotta give no down payments, but you know what? But for you,
even calf machines,
everything.
That's the one thing you want. That's what I'm looking for.
But you know what? But for you, we'll just give you $5 a month for your whole entire life.
My entire life.
Best deal ever.
And that's it.
That's it.
No initial payment. Just
there's no down payment. $5 a month.
Look at that. How about that?
But let's say you like LA Fitness or Fitness or Valley Royal or whatever. I don't know.
24 hour.
24 hour.
24 hour.
Valley Fit. What is that? It sounds like a woman. I think it is 24 hour Valley.
24 hour. Let's say 24 hour fitness, whatever. Let's say you just like that one because it has better machines. You like it 24 hour. You want to pay that extra money because you just prefer that one. The AC is cooler, whatever.
The calf machines don't squeak.
Yeah, let's just pretend you just want that one.
And they have a sauna.
But let's pretend this corporation, the Fitness Connection, they're like, oh no, Joseph, you gotta, get our service. And you're like, well, I don't want that service. I prefer something else. You're like, oh no, you don't understand. Take out their gun. And they have a bunch of people in their back, a bunch of little, like a mob
with the torches, torches, the fire sticks,
and then they tell you gotta buy our service.
Buy our service.
What's that called?
Well, that's force.
I mean, that's basically pondering.
Yeah,
basically taking your stuff. They're forcing you to buy a service that you don't want. See, but when we see corporations doing that, we see it as evil. We're like, oh man, that's not good. But when we see government doing that,
Yeah, we don't.
we
see
think it's
it.
virtuous.
The government is like a big corporation. That's what it seems. It
The
seems like it's the
government
same
is-
thing.
The government
Like,
is, yeah, well, our government, yeah.
because like I imagine like
our governments.
I imagine like let's say someone started a group to help the poor. You know, like they go out whatever, you know, they do whatever they do. A group that starts the poor and then they need help. So some people voluntarily start helping. They voluntarily give their money, their service, whatever. And so that's how it works, right? But then let's say that same group that just started this to help the poor, they start saying, we're gonna need your money. Like they start doing that. We're gonna need your money, and you're gonna have to give it to us. We're gonna need your money now. And now, but I didn't agree to it. Like it doesn't matter. You're gonna have to.
Yeah.
If you don't, we're gonna take away something from you, your car, your house, whatever. It seems like the government is acting like a big, huge corporation.
That's what it is.
Seems like.
And then the sad part is that some people, some of our citizens, they like that. They want the government to force you to take your money. They're like the guy with the pitchforks. Let's pretend a corporation is trying to force a service. So people act like the guys in the background, like, come on, yeah, I'm a 24-hour fitness corporation, or yeah, fitness connection corporation. Go and take their money, go and do this. And that's what people do. They want government to steal from other people. They don't see it like that. They see it more like, it's my right. Well, it's really stealing. You're actually voting for people to steal from others to give to you. And you believe it's a right, then something's wrong. Your definitions, your way you look at the world, is wrong, because that's what you're doing. So anyway, so that's the state. The state is when they use the political means, the force, to make exchange. Now, I wish that we did have a government where it's more like, I guess, economical means, where it's a mutual exchange of goods. That's why I do believe that the smaller the state, the easier it is for that to happen.
Like
once states
it'd be
becomes
easier accountability, I guess.
it's easier because you're able to be more accountable to each other,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I think a lot of the states should be sovereign instead of having this big, huge union that we have right now. Right now, it's like everything's controlled by Washington, all these laws, by Supreme Justice Court, whatever. Instead of just letting the people in the state and even their local cities deal with their problems.
Or heck, even their local churches.
Yeah, we're good. I mean, that's very important too, man, about the church government. We're gonna talk about that one.
How far can the church go?
I do think smaller, I guess you could say, groups like that, organizations, whatever, it does help to essentially better, or they can better provide service or help versus a big, huge corporation like a government.
Yeah, like
I used to work in the financial aid office, and that they supposedly federal aid is to help students to get a schooling and whatever other needs they need, whatever. But people came in. I'm like, man, this person. I mean, I look at I'm looking at all their tax information. All right, so I get to see like all that stuff and everything.
You're part of the system, bro.
And then I was like, man, why is this person?
He
He was like Neo, but before he took the red pill.
I was like, why does this person need money, dude? Like, there's a lot. Like sometimes parents didn't want to help either, So I don't know, parents, if they didn't want to help, they want to teach their child to do that. That's fine. But some people went in there, dude, and they were just getting it. They didn't even like consider what's going to happen in the future with that money, because sometimes they get loans and they're like, they don't even know. They're like, oh yeah, just give me the big amount. And I remember telling this guy, like,
didn't even look at the interest rate or anything?
Yeah, nothing like that. He just came in, got the max amount, and then I was like, all right, man, so you're gonna have to pay this back, right? And he goes like, yeah, but whatever. I forgot what he said, but I ended up convincing him.
I'll let the government pay it.
But like, do you really need this much? Like, because it's a lot, dude. Like 10K, man. Like, that's a lot, dude.
Send Jack.
I know, that's a lot. And then sometimes I'll talk to people just to see how they use their money. And sometimes they'll be like, oh yeah, I need my new phone, or whatever. They already have a phone. I'm like, man, do some of these people, like, I feel like the money is not being used for schooling. It's being used for other stuff. Like, I feel like sometimes that is the case. But I ended up getting this guy to get actually what he needed, not what he wanted. I mean, this guy was getting a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember he cut it down. Yeah. And he was just like, oh, someone just told me I can come get this. And I was like, oh my goodness, these people, like, they're not thinking through what they're getting here, man. And I can see that the government or this system is not like, it's harder for it to meet the needs, because it's just like very impersonal. They just look at the information in general, and then that's it. If they can get it, they can get it. And whatever standards they use to meet needs, that's the standard, arbitrary standards they use.
And the bad thing is that we have this view of the Keynesian economy, where more debt to supposedly the boost the economy goes. Anyways,
Just keep printing.
We're not gonna talk about Keynesianism and Austrian economy right now.
Yeah,
but,
so I think smaller groups can meet the needs better. Like to churches, they can actually, they're accountable. They know more personally the needs of people.
And on top of that, they have the objective standard, who is
Of
God
God's-
Himself,
Yeah.
revealing Himself to
That's
us
true.
through His Word, and to understand how to give and on what basis.
So then that's the state, guys. So the state, it uses all those things. Now they also, like you said, I mean, because you really think about it, how many people are really in the government, in the state government? There's probably like max 300 people, 400 people. Then through Congress,
Well, if you
and
wanna-
then the
if you-
Senate.
Does the House of Representatives count?
Yeah, all that.
Or
Oh,
if,
that's
you,
like
or if you
400
want to count the
something
guys in the background who control the president, you know,
let's-
you ever
let's
seen those
say-
videos where they're like,
El
where they
cartel.
tell Nixon, you're like, okay, you're done.
Let's
And then
say,
he's like,
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
let's say 1,000 people just in the White House. I think that's a lot, but let's say 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And let's say the military, I'll put the military as part of the government. But really, the majority of the people is way more than us. I mean, there's way more than them. They probably have like 10% of the people, and we're like 90% of the people.
Probably
Yeah.
less, dude.
Yeah, so the majority of people are actually just layman citizens. Okay, so how do they preserve their power?
Delegates.
How do they preserve their power?
Through propaganda and
Man,
brainwashing.
Animal
and
Farm. Yeah, propaganda,
Animal
man.
Farm.
Propaganda.
Some show. Something he
They
was talking
persuade
about.
you.
On
that they're-
Facebook, that little game? Oh, no,
Not,
that's
not the
different.
Animal Farm game.
No, there's a book
Oh,
called
okay,
Animal Farm.
okay, I got you. I like the game. The lady that was addicted to Animal Farm. You ever heard of that lady?
No. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did. I
She got
remember that.
taken in.
But persuasion, they try to persuade you that you need us. Like Bernie Sanders, you need us to pay your loans. You need us to give you, your
Free
Yeah.
schooling.
Free schooling.
Free healthcare.
Free everything.
Free everything.
free
His
education.
ideas, man.
but
His
but
ideas.
it's not all free because somebody has to pay for those services.
Yeah,
And who pays for them? Los que se quedan aquí todos
yeah.
hechos papas fritas.
So the state,
Yep.
in order to preserve their power, they
French fries.
gotta convince the majority, or at least convince them that
That's your
they're
money,
necessary.
That's your money.
They have to convince the people that they are inevitable or necessary. So they do it through persuasion or sometimes through force, divine and conquer. But other ways they do it is by persuading the people that is divine institutions. That's how they persuade people, like, oh, we're here through divine right. Like the Caesars and the people from Egypt, the pharaohs, they were established by divine power. So people were kind of like afraid that if you did anything to the emperor, it was like you were doing things directly to the gods because they believed that they were divine.
Yeah, they were God incarnate.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
believed they were divine. So it was like that was the way the state preserved their power, by saying divine right.
Saying
And
lies.
sadly, the Catholic Church did that with the Pope, that he was divinely the vicar of Christ, directly connection with God. And you talked about the Pope, then people were like, can't do that because you're talking directly speaking to a guy that's basically like a prophet. So we had that fear. And the sad part is that a lot of times we see our government, our present government, or like our state government right now, as like something divine, it's divinely inspired by God.
Like
And
they
it's
make
not.
they make the laws. You have to listen to them no matter what they say.
Sometimes that's how we feel like.
That's
That's how
how-
we see it.
yeah,
Not
right.
feel like.
And don't go against them.
We can't go against them, because we criticize them. We're criticizing God's anointing. But we see a lot of times in the Bible, man, when the people actually rebelled against religious leaders and against kings and authorities. We see that in the book of Acts when the apostles, Peter and John, they just went full core rebellion towards them. They were like supposed to be preaching, and they preached. They wouldn't be able to stop them. So there is a godly type of rebellion, guys. Even in the book of Daniel, when the kings told Daniel that he couldn't pray and
Oh,
fast,
that's right.
Daniel prayed on his windowsill. Some people say that he did it on purpose, so they can see him like a rebellious act, like a how do you call that? Like a
Flaunting.
not flaunting, but like a when you do a certain action to
To purposely show.
yeah,
Yeah.
civil disobedience. I don't know. I
I
forgot the
don't know.
word.
I don't know.
But anyways, he was fasting and praying, and they saw him, and that was illegal. Remember? And he still did it.
Because there
He
was
went
a,
against-
there was a law above.
Yes, and
There was a true God.
So
above that.
the ruling authority had crossed their line.
Yes.
So they're like, I don't need to obey that law because they've crossed their line.
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna like kind of connect the dots, because we do believe that there is a divine institution, state government, but that state government has to be regulated not by the people's law, not by democracy, but by God's law. So whenever the state government is trying to steal from people, they're still under God's law. Thou shalt not steal. So now they charge you taxes, they are stealing from you. They are taking your money by force. Every taxation is force. So therefore, all taxation is stealing. Even if it's for a good cause. Even if it's for the church. Even if the state is giving it to the church. Like, we can steal your money to give it to the church. Even if it's giving it to your mom.
If there's no consent. There's no consent.
What does it say? Even inflation is stealing.
Well, it's a consequence of. But anyways, thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kidnap or man steal.
Kidnap.
There's no thou shalt not. But man stealing, when government kidnaps you because you don't want to pay your taxes, that's what they're doing. They're kidnapping you, taking you away, putting you.
And I'm trying to think about what's the difference between someone who views the government as, when they do something like that, they're in the right, versus someone who views it when they do that is man stealing. Like, and I think they're looking at it. I think they're using a different standard. They're using the government as a standard. So whatever they do is right.
Yeah.
But if you have God as your standard, then you'll realize that is actually man stealing.
Yeah.
Like whenever they put you in jail for something that you didn't want to do.
Have you ever thought about like the greatest crimes, the greatest punishments that we receive are those that we do against our quotations, our God, the government. If I steal from a corporation, they might send me to jail, whatever. But if I steal from the government, it's a big.
That's true. It's like, for some reason, it's bigger, right? It's
bigger. If you destroy government property, it's like treason. But if I steal another person's property, they might send me to jail, or take forever to, if I beat up a cop, it's like bigger punishment. But if I beat you up, which I can easily do.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Vasquez will run.
Huh?
He'll catch me up right now, dude, because he runs a lot, dude.
I'll catch you. He might run faster. He'll get tired like after the mile. I'll be just like that rabbit constantly.
And then like the guy's like, man, why doesn't he stop?
Constantly.
Oh my goodness, I'm getting tired.
He could outrun me, but he cannot outlast me.
Oh, there it is.
Calmate, bo.
So there's a dog chasing us out. They stay alive because he'll get caught first. But anyways, what were we saying?
No, the dog runs faster than you, man. Dogs are fast.
No, I'm saying, but if we're running together away from a dog, you'll get caught.
Now, if I trip you, kind of like Shane.
All right, Shane, trying to be
Shane and then Walking Dead,
from Walking
with
Dead
Otis.
over here.
But anyways, somebody's been watching Walking Dead.
Right. You?
I am not watching The Walking Dead. I just stared at the TV, but I'm not really watching. I'm just like,
whatever.
I'm staring at the pixels.
The screen, the pixels.
I'm staring at the pixels, so I can see the resolution, but I'm not looking at the show.
Is it 1080? Is it really 1080?
I don't know. But anyways, so that's what the government is, man. That's what the state government is.
So okay, go ahead.
No, go for it. We only have a few more minutes, but yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So then we understand the premise. We understand that government should not be stepping in and forcing political means and stuff like that. Instead, it should be enforcing the economic part of it, where there's free exchange and agreement between parties. And so, but of course, that's not the position that it's at now.
No.
So how should we as Christians or just citizens under the big brother or the God government, how are we to act now, understanding these things?
Well, we do have to obey our government. So even if our government is being evil and committing sins against his people, we still got to pay our taxes. So I'm not asking to rebel on that issue. We are commanded to pay our taxes. And Peter and in Romans 13 is not really, but in Peter it does talk about paying our taxes. Jesus was an example of doing that as well. So we do got to pay our taxes.
Doesn't Jesus actually give an example?
Give to Caesar that which is Caesar, and give to God that which is God.
Yeah, but there was another one where
the fish,
the coin.
Is the Son of Man even obligated to? I forgot. There was like a whole little like exposition that Jesus gave on that, being like, does the Son of Man have to pay his,
Yes. So,
being God himself? So
we do got to pay our taxes, but we do have to vote. Well, one thing is, we got to like stop buying into this whole propaganda, man. We're like, Trump's going to be the savior. We're a Republican guy and candidate is going to be our savior. That's what we get. We get worse and worse. Like we all we're doing is really just competing against the Democrats.
till we get to
win.
the point of going
That's
with
it.
Kanye
That's it.
West.
Yeah, like back in the days,
What is that?
it was like it's getting worse and worse. Like the
That
Republican
could
Party is
vote for
becoming
Vasquez.
more liberal and secular, more liberal until like back in the days, man. The whole Social Security, this when Barry Goldwater was running, back in or even Reagan, the issue of Social Security was like a given. Like, yeah, we don't want any Social Security. Now, you talk about Social Security in the Republican platform. Now it's like we need our Social Security. It's like it's revolutionary. When Ron Paul was talking about getting rid of the SS, Social Security, it was like he was a wacko, and that was like the Republican platform in the 60s and 70s to get rid of that stuff.
Huh.
So now it's becoming more socialist, and so we think we're fighting for like conservatism, but we're really just fighting for lesser socialism.
Huh.
But it's really the same principle. Trump is not no conservative. He's no classical liberal or well, definitely not libertarian. He's still big government, just like Hillary was. But I do like Trump, though. I do want to. I think he's doing some cool things with the whole North Korea. But anyways, he is a little crazy. But so I think another thing is educating our being more like not elevating the state government, but elevating more like the family government and even the church government. So letting those governments take more roles. So like instead of letting your state educate your kids, you homeschool your kids. Homeschool. So
Without government
Intervening.
propaganda
or even stepping in.
because the Republicans are
Anyway.
more like some Republicans are more like this. Oh, we got to put prayer back in school. We got to put more Bible back or prayer back in school. But then you should be asking, well, why should the government even be involved in
Why should they
educating
even
our
say
kids in the
that?
first place?
Yeah, we're at the state convention, and that was actually one of the, I don't want to say amendments, but one of the things that they were trying to like just agree upon. And so the thing or the proposition was that government can help fund homeschooling without any ties to it. But the thing is that you're still allowing the government to step in and at least just fund. But they said no ties to it, no lines like telling you what exactly to teach your kids if they need to teach your kids.
There's still, it sounds like they're still providing a service though.
There's-
Like
yeah, they're-
it's still.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still connected in a way. I mean, they're moving the money around.
Yeah. So, but in that sense, there's people who may not agree with homeschooling, who may have to pay taxes
Yeah.
for homeschooling.
Yeah. So
And
yeah.
that's
Um,
where it
so
would
then
be.
that's where
That's
it
where
may-
it's
even if it benefits you guys, all taxation is still stealing. So even if it
If
benefits the
forced,
Christians,
yeah, when forced. Well,
Or-
all taxation is forced.
So is taxation? Does that always mean it's without consent?
well, unless there's a tax where you give voluntarily.
That wouldn't be a tax. What would that be?
I mean, I
What
don't
would
know.
that be?
man.
What would that be
I
called?
don't know. Actually, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess you want to call it instead of tax, it's more like a
Buying a service.
tax. I don't know.
A tax.
I mean, because people, they think that if you don't have forced taxes, then you won't give any money voluntarily. I think the lottery used to be run like that. Like the lottery, you put money like for the lottery, whatever. They give you 60%, and the rest goes for the state government. That's the way they were able to get taxes. It was all voluntary. Like you give money to buy this lottery ticket. You might give a chance to get, $6 million. But then if they collect 10 million, then they keep 60% of it or 70% or whatever it is. And that's how they are able to. That's one way. The point is that we don't think about ways to voluntarily get money from the citizens. We just forcefully get it from them.
Oh.
What's it called when you have the Hispanic lottery? Pangas?
Not tangas.
No, I said pangas. Pangas, right?
Like a-
paying? It sounds like paying.
Yeah, what they do is like they all collect, like let's say it's us 6, and each person gives $20.
Oh yeah,
and then like at the end of the month, that person that it lands on, they get it.
yeah, but yeah.
Right, but it's not really. You're
It's
not really winning. It's
not really,
just
you're rotating.
Yeah, you're just
No,
rotating.
the lottery is more you actually do win because if you say give me your money, everybody, if you put $5, you're able to get.
It's hilarious.
You're able to get.
Tandas.
Tandas.
Not pangas.
You said tangas.
No. I didn't say tangas.
Well,
I said pangas.
That's what I heard, dude.
It's tandas.
That's what I heard.
Like
man.
este Sosa.
Tandas.
Sosa called el portero de Alemania, de Norte Corea. Dijo, el portero de Alemania es una tanga. Le digo, ¿por qué tanga? Porque no tapan nada.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, man.
Oh my
Una tanga
goodness.
porque no tapa nada.
That's my shout out to Abraham, not for the goalie part, but because there was tandas, and I was like trying to reason with them, like you're really not gaining more, you're just
rotating.
You're just rotating, like you're not doing anything. And I remember talking to Damien about it too. He's like, I don't understand that.
That's
stuff.
just for like so you can buy like if you want to buy something like that day or you're able to collect that money to buy it as a whole. But anyways, so educating
you
your
don't have the money,
don't let
just
the
don't buy
government
it. Just like that, just
don't let the state government educate your kids. You take more role of that. You give the other governments more power. Reduce the power of the state government and giving it more to like the other type of governments that are more voluntary, like the home government. You educate your kids. You give money freely to whatever, and also the church government elevate that one as well. We're like they're the ones that take care of the widows and the orphans, like it says in the scriptures. Let them be the ones that are in the healthcare system. Let them be the ones that are like helping out
the families and those who are sick.
Through the members' offerings, through the members' love offerings that is done voluntarily with a cheerful heart.
Even service, like helping, like just like coming over and helping out and stuff.
So voluntarily. So I think the best governments that we do have are all those that are voluntarily, which is the church government. Sadly, some of our history does show that even our church government back in the days was a little too forceful. Catholics and even some Presbyterians. But Baptists actually have a pretty cool history, man. I'm proud to be a Baptist. Yep. Anyways, all you Presbys used to drown our Baptist brothers. It's all good, though. It's all good. We still love y'all. Things are changed. Yeah, man, the Baptists used to get persecuted by a lot of people, man. Used to get drowned by the Presbys.
Just because they did not believe in pedo baptism.
Yeah, but anyways.
That's infant baptism. In case
we'll leave that for another topic. Criticize our Presby brothers.
They're still brothers.
There's actually a meme that I saw. There's a Presby and a Baptist. Yeah, and the Presby, he's doing the WCF, the Westminster Confession. He's doing all right, and the Baptist is like this. Peeking, kind of like copying, and then the other picture is the teacher giving the Presby a B and giving the Reformed Baptist a plus.
It's the same
paper.
paper.
Better. Oh my.
But anyways, it's pretty funny.
All
anyways, guys, I know we didn't get into the whole Austrian economy, the NAP theory, the theory of value. All those things are important, like in the libertarian view. But I think getting a foundation of what the state is, I think actually helped. I think a lot of people would agree with libertarianism if they really see the way we see the state. Because it's very important, because we could talk about all these things, but if you see the state a certain way, you just think, like, okay, like, well, so what? Yeah. So I think you have to have a foundational shift of the government or state government. And then we're able to talk more about, what topics, else it can do.
You can see the logical deductions from that.
So that's part of what we believe about the states. But there's more to it, man. Like the theory of value, we do believe that value is subjective. That's why communism does not work. But anyways, as a free market is able to subjectively do an exchange by each people's view of how they see things, like
invisible hand.
Like we're able to exchange things not by an objective standard that the government puts, but by our subjective value of a certain item. Like a piece of gold might be expensive in this modern society or in our luxury times, but if you're stuck in the desert and somebody comes with a piece of gold and a gallon of water, that gallon of water is going to be more valuable than that piece of gold.
That's
So
true.
so the items change subjectively, even by circumstances, people. So there can be no objective standard of how much a price is.
Even now,
But-
I'm not really too interested in gold.
Yeah,
So,
me neither.
and it's there, like, you know.
To the atheist, the Bible is trash. To some atheists do value the Bible. Anyways, but so we can be talking about that. But I think that's just kind of like too much stuff.
Cool.
But anyways, guys, that's our topic for today. You want to give any shout outs? Anything in last words?
Shout out to our camera crew and our helper. That's Vanessa, Josue, and Lisbeth
Oh,
participating. Good job, guys.
They're in
Got
the
our
background.
audience here.
Wow.
Our
first
Thank
audience,
you.
dude.
I
That's
know.
our first
And that's not our
audience.
first audience.
No?
Oh, our first audience
Like,
is recording
like
video.
recording video. Yeah, that's what I meant.
But yeah, so
Thank you, guys. That's all.
all right. Well,
That's it, man.
Deduce.
Bye bye.
Pura adicción.